Discipline is not just about the habits you perform every morning or the schedules you force yourself to follow. Discipline is identity. It is the process of building a solid structure in a world that constantly tries to pull you into chaos. Every day you face a choice between being proactive and being passive, between creating a purposeful life or letting life control you. If you feel tired, overwhelmed by insecurity or distraction, don't be quick to think that you are broken or lack strength. The truth is, you're living without clear order, without personal rules. And when there is a lack of order, the mind begins to waste away, getting scattered through tired mornings, unfinished tasks, and silent regrets. Discipline, rather than just being fragmented habits, is the process of creating an identity for yourself. It is about building a system of values that you follow every day. It's easy to get pulled into the chaos of this world. There are so many things out there demanding your attention, from notifications on your phone to the stories around you to the noise in work and personal life. Without discipline, it's easy to get swept along in these currents without realizing it. But when you understand the value of discipline, you'll realize that everything you need to succeed is already in your hands. You just need to learn how to stay consistent with what you've chosen, no matter how many temptations there are out there. Discipline is not just about waking up on time or maintaining healthy eating habits. It's about standing firm in the face of every challenge, about having the determination not to give up, no matter how many difficulties or reasons there are to turn back. Discipline is the ability to keep going when things are not going smoothly. It is the ability to endure and overcome moments of weakness. It is the steadfastness in your decisions, even when you don't feel motivated or energized to continue. Every morning when you wake up, you're not just doing a simple task, you're choosing the person you want to become. You can choose to sleep for 5 more minutes, but by doing that, you're choosing not a promising day, but procrastination, indecision. Discipline, in fact, is refusing procrastination, refusing excuses, and affirming that you are the one who controls your life. When you start building discipline in your life, you're not just creating habits, you're creating your identity. You begin to live by a value system you've chosen, and through that process, you'll notice that everything in your life begins to change. You no longer let emotions or external factors control you. You begin to see everything clearly, with a clear goal and a determination not to give up. Discipline is how you build self-respect. It's when you ask yourself every day, how can I become the person I want to be? And the answer doesn't come from ambiguity or empty promises, but from specific actions, from the choices you make every day. When you start practicing discipline, you begin to see that every action, no matter how small, makes a big difference in the future. Every morning you wake up on time, every time you choose to work instead of procrastinate, every time you finish a task, all of it contributes to the person you dream to be. There is no great change that does not begin with small steps. If you want to change your life, start by changing the small things in your daily habits. Discipline is not a battle you win instantly. It is a long journey, a process of building step by step. But if you persist, you will see that discipline will not only change your actions, but it will also change your identity, turning you into a person you can be proud of when you look back. Discipline is not about harsh restraint or forbidding yourself. It is freedom in mastering yourself. When you live with discipline, you don't just create a full life, but you create a meaningful life. You don't live according to the push of external factors, but live according to a clear direction, according to the values and goals you've chosen. Discipline is not a sacrifice, but a choice that makes you become the person you want to be. So what is your discipline? It may start with small habits, but those are the habits that form who you are. Every time you wake up and do a task, every time you stay consistent with your goals, you are building your own identity. Let discipline be the drive, the motivation that helps you never give up, never step back. Remember that discipline is identity, and you have the power to choose who you will become. Discipline is not just the rules you set for yourself. It is the highest form of self-respect. When you practice discipline, you're not only adjusting your behavior, You're expressing deep respect for yourself and for what you can achieve in life. Every decision you make, every action you take is a dialogue with yourself. Do you respect yourself enough not to give up on your potential? Do you respect yourself enough not to continue doing the things you know are not good for you? Self-respect isn't something you can see immediately. It's not about the moments when others witness you doing something great. Self-respect lies in the choices you make in private moments when no one is watching. It's when you resist temptation, when you continue to do what's right even without recognition. It's the decision to work harder even when no one is checking on you, or to keep a promise you made to yourself even when no one expects you to follow through. Discipline is the act of honoring yourself, your goals, and the values you hold dear. When you break a promise to yourself, when you postpone important tasks out of laziness or lack of motivation, you are slowly diminishing the respect you have for yourself. Self-respect means not allowing fleeting emotions or external circumstances to push you toward the easy but short-sighted path. Instead, self-respect is about making the hard but necessary choice, doing the things that may be difficult but will lead you to long-term success. Self-respect is not about perfection. Doesn't mean getting everything right from start to finish. It shows in your perseverance and refusal to give up even when you fail. In fact, failure is not a sign of lacking discipline. Failure is part of the process. Self-respect is demonstrated in how you get back up after each fall, and how you stay committed to the decisions you've made even when the path is difficult. Every time you give up, you don't just lose a chance at success, you lose a chance to prove to yourself that you are capable. We cannot expect others to respect us if we don't respect ourselves. Discipline is the way you show that respect. If you can't keep a promise to yourself, if you can't do what needs to be done without supervision, how can you expect others to do the same? Without discipline, you allow yourself to be swept away by the currents of emotion and circumstance. And once you allow yourself to be led, you'll find that you're no longer in control of your life. By living with discipline, you don't just build good habits, you build a person who is responsible for themselves. Self-respect is shown in doing what needs to be done even when there's no one to remind or reward you. When you truly respect yourself, you no longer seek instant gratification. You aim for bigger goals, for long-term visions, and you stay loyal to those goals no matter the temptations or obstacles. That's how you honor the limitless potential you have within. Self-respect doesn't mean you can't enjoy the good things in life. You can still have fun, relax, and feel comfort, but self-respect is knowing when to stop, when to turn down things that don't help you grow. It's understanding that one day of rest is necessary, but a week of rest can cause you to lose your rhythm and your focus. Self-respect is about balance and understanding that doing the right thing isn't always easy, but it is essential for becoming the person you want to be. Discipline is the process of learning to love and respect yourself. It's recognizing the areas of life you've neglected or postponed and choosing to change. It's the determination to act even when you don't feel motivated, because you understand that discipline is the way to build the life you deserve. When you choose discipline, you're not just building habits, you're building yourself. You're not just working hard. You're shaping a person who can stand firm in any situation, someone you can be proud of when you look back. Self-respect through discipline is also the realization that no one but you can change your life. If you want a different life, you have to start with yourself, with the decisions you make every day. You cannot expect change from the outside if you haven't changed from within. When you start living with discipline, you start living in a way that reflects your own self-respect and pride. You'll discover that discipline doesn't just help you reach your goals, it helps you feel a deeper freedom, the freedom that comes from being in control of yourself. Discipline is self-respect, a respect shown through action, through every promise you keep to yourself. And when you do that, You're not just building a successful life, you're building a life worth living. Discipline is how you tell yourself that you deserve the very best, and when you truly respect yourself, you'll see your life change in ways you never imagined. True discipline is not a war against yourself. You don't have to fight to defeat laziness or struggle against external temptations. On the contrary, discipline is a reconnection with yourself. It is the act of returning to your core values, of standing up and doing the right thing, even when you don't feel like doing anything at all. This isn't a battle. It's a process of integration, an affirmation that you are taking charge of your life instead of letting it drift by unconsciously. Many people think of discipline as a harsh battle with themselves, as if they have to force themselves to do this or that under pressure and coercion. But the truth is, discipline is not coercion. It is the willingness to do what is necessary to achieve the goals you've set for yourself. This is not a fight between you and yourself, but a collaboration between who you are now and the long-term goals you are aiming for. We cannot win the war if we constantly place ourselves in a state of conflict. True discipline comes when you understand that it's not about winning every little battle, but about maintaining a steady direction. Instead of fighting against temptations, learn to navigate around them. Let good habits and intentional decisions lead you. When you realize that discipline is not about triumphing in every moment, but about holding firm to your course throughout the journey, you'll find it lighter and easier to sustain discipline. Discipline is also not about forcing yourself into a plan you don't believe in. It's not about pushing yourself to do things you don't like or that go against your nature. Rather, discipline is a commitment to the values and goals that you truly want to pursue. If you find a routine or habit that doesn't suit you, don't force yourself to follow it just because you think it's the only way to succeed. In truth, discipline is about finding the path that best fits you, a path you can maintain long-term without feeling exhausted or constrained. You won't always feel motivated to work, and that's completely normal. Discipline doesn't require you to always feel excited or full of enthusiasm. In fact, sometimes you'll feel tired, unmotivated, and unwilling to do anything. Discipline in those moments is continuing to move forward, even when you feel like stopping. That's when you truly demonstrate your perseverance and commitment. It's not about winning every moment, but about sustaining habits and taking conscious actions aligned with your goals. Real discipline arises when you realize you don't need to be in a state of absolute readiness or constant enthusiasm to get things done. You may not feel like doing what you've planned, but discipline allows you to do it regardless of fleeting emotions. In fact, discipline means doing the things you don't want to do in the moment, but knowing they will move you closer to your goals. This is not a war you have to win every minute. It's about keeping your commitment to yourself. You don't have to win every day, but you do need to stay persistent and not give up. In truth, discipline is a long-term process, a daily accumulation of right decisions, whether you feel motivated or not. On the days when you don't want to wake up early, when you feel like you can't go on, those are the moments when you need to show your strongest discipline. What matters is that you don't have to fight yourself. See discipline as a companion, an indispensable part of your journey toward what you want to achieve. Don't let laziness or procrastination make you lose sight of your goals. Discipline is how you steer yourself toward bigger objectives, how you protect your values and resist being pushed off course by temporary influences. The truth is, you don't need to be at odds with yourself. Discipline comes from mastering how you feel and taking conscious action, even in difficult situations. It's not about fighting to do something. It's about choosing to act in a purposeful and meaningful way, regardless of what's happening externally. True discipline is when you don't feel like you're in a battle, but when you're consciously, willingly doing what needs to be done to become a better version of yourself. It's not a fierce fight. It's a partnership between you and yourself where change is created not through force, but through awareness and intentional choice. So let go of the battle within. Change the way you look at discipline. Don't think of it as a test of strength, but as a journey of self-discovery, a commitment to the life you want to build. Let discipline be your tool for growth, not a chain or burden. When you stop warring with yourself, you'll find that discipline is no longer difficult or heavy. It will become a natural part of your life, helping you live in alignment with your goals and values, taking you one step closer each day to the best version of who you are. Discipline is not just a tool to help you build a better life. It is also the way you teach others how to treat you. When you respect your own time, keep your promises, and stay committed to the decisions you've made, you not only create an organized life with clear goals, but also indirectly communicate to others the respect you have for yourself. Discipline is the message you send, a message to the world around you that you are a person of value and that you deserve to be treated with respect. In a society full of distractions and temptations, maintaining discipline is a way for you to define yourself and prevent life from slipping by meaninglessly. When you respect yourself, refusing to let yourself become distracted or lost, you are teaching those around you to treat you in the same way. They will see that you do not allow yourself to be pulled into relationships or work that do not bring real value, and therefore they too will learn to treat you with seriousness and respect. Every action you take reflects the discipline you have towards yourself. If you constantly allow work to be delayed, fail to keep promises to yourself, you are unintentionally giving others permission not to respect you either. Late appointments, unfinished tasks, or unkept promises are signals that you don't truly value your time or commitments. And if you don't, others won't either. Discipline is how you set clear boundaries. You not only set rules for yourself, but also for those around you. When you know how to protect your time and energy, others will realize that they must respect the limits you have established. For example, if you always honor your commitments to work and family, others will learn to value your time and won't disturb you unreasonably. When you shield yourself from distractions, you indirectly create an environment where people understand that respect is a prerequisite in all relationships. Remember that discipline is not just a personal issue, it's a social one. When you are disciplined, you become a role model to those around you. These people, whether friends, colleagues, or family, will notice how you treat yourself and begin to behave similarly toward you. A disciplined person does not allow themselves to be deceived by sweet words or negative relationships. They understand that to earn respect from others, they must uphold high standards in how they treat themselves. Discipline teaches others that you are not someone who can be easily taken advantage of or manipulated. You are the one who makes decisions in your life, and do not let anyone force you to go against your personal values. When you know how to say no when necessary, others will understand that you are not someone who can be easily pushed or have your boundaries crossed. This helps you maintain healthy relationships and avoid the negative effects of people who do not respect you. However, it's important to remember that discipline does not mean becoming rigid or cold. You can still build loving relationships and care for others, but it's essential that you know how to protect yourself and not allow those relationships to become burdens. You can love and support others, but you should not let them take advantage of your kindness. Discipline is the balance between being open-hearted and protecting yourself. Discipline in relationships is also how you teach others when you need space and when you need support. It helps you establish clear boundaries, which not only benefits you, but also helps those around you understand your needs and desires. When you demonstrate discipline in managing your time and energy, you also teach others to respect those needs and to refrain from disturbing you when you need personal space. There is nothing more wonderful than living in an environment where everyone respects each other's boundaries and maintains healthy relationships. And this can only be achieved when you are disciplined with yourself and treat yourself with respect. Discipline helps you create a space in which you can live and work without worrying about being violated or disrespected. Ultimately, discipline is an investment in your future. When you maintain discipline with yourself, you are not only creating a good life for yourself, but also building a solid future in which those around you also learn how to respect you and your life. Your good habits, strong commitments, and persistence will become a shining example for anyone who wants to build a life of discipline and self-respect. Discipline is not just a tool. It is how you build your relationship with the world around you. It helps you become the person you want to be, a person worthy of respect and love. When you live with discipline, you don't just teach yourself how to live meaningfully, you also teach others how to treat you. And that is the kind of lasting change you can bring to your life and the lives of those around you. Discipline not only helps you build good habits, but also serves as a mirror reflecting the truth you might not want to face, the darker sides within yourself that you've long tried to hide. When you begin practicing discipline, you're not merely following a set of rules, you are confronting parts of yourself that you've never truly acknowledged. Discipline will force you to face negative thoughts, procrastination, excuses, and a lack of consistency that you may have grown used to ignoring over the years. And that is the first step toward real transformation. The darkness within each of us is not always easy to detect. It may begin with small thoughts like, I'll do it tomorrow, or just this once, it's okay. They show up in moments when you're tired, feeling unmotivated, or simply when you choose the easier path. But that darkness doesn't stop at those thoughts. It includes limiting beliefs, deep fears about not being enough, fear of failure, or feeling undeserving of success. Discipline doesn't allow you to avoid these feelings. Instead, it brings you closer to them, forcing you to recognize and accept the parts of yourself you've been trying to ignore. Facing your inner darkness is a great challenge, but also a tremendous opportunity for growth. When you begin to practice discipline, you'll notice that you won't always be able to stick to your plans. You'll encounter procrastination, days when you don't want to do anything, moments when you want to quit. But it is precisely in those moments that discipline compels you to look at yourself and ask, why do I want to give up? Why do I feel unmotivated? What is really holding me back? These questions are not meant to punish you, but to help you realize the limitations you've set for yourself and begin to dismantle them. Discipline is not coercion. True discipline is self-respect. It's choosing not to let yourself be defeated by external circumstances or fleeting emotions. When you face your inner darkness, you'll realize that the times you gave up weren't because you lacked ability, but because you chose not to confront the difficulty. Procrastination, fear, indecision, these are all parts of who you are that you must face and overcome. Discipline is the tool to help you do that. It keeps you from retreating in the face of adversity and instead pushes you to confront and overcome it. Facing the darkness within isn't easy. It requires you to admit that you have weaknesses, that you may not be perfect, but discipline won't let you stand still and simply acknowledge the problem without action. It forces you to change. You can't continue hiding procrastination, fear, or excuses once you've committed to yourself. Discipline is how you clean out the dark corners of your mind so that you can move forward without carrying unnecessary burden. The times when you feel tired and want to give up are the moments when you must confront your inner darkness. When you feel unmotivated, discipline becomes the force that helps you continue. When you want to postpone today's work for tomorrow, discipline reminds you that there is no tomorrow unless you act today. And every time you overcome such a challenge, you'll find yourself stronger, more confident, and closer to the better version of yourself. No one can change their life without facing themselves. And facing yourself is not just about accepting your strengths, but also confronting your weaknesses. Discipline helps you do this ruthlessly, but with compassion. When you maintain discipline, you not only improve your external behavior, you transform from within. You'll learn to love and respect yourself enough not to back down, not to make excuses for your weaknesses. You'll learn to face fear, not run from it, but face it and overcome it. Discipline is not merely about toughness, it's about flexibility and adjusting your actions. When you face the darkness within, you'll realize that you don't always have to fight or force yourself to do something. Sometimes what you need is patience and acceptance. Discipline is not about always winning. It's about not giving up, not quitting, no matter how many challenges or setbacks you face. Discipline teaches you how to maintain balance, how to face your dark sides and use them as fuel to move forward. Discipline will teach you that your inner darkness is not your enemy, but an opportunity for growth. Only when you dare to look at the parts of yourself that are not beautiful, the parts that are weak, can you truly change. And when you overcome those internal challenges, you'll realize that you can face any difficulty in life without fear. Because the truth is, discipline not only helps you become strong on the outside, it is the tool that enables you to conquer yourself, to break through the limits you've set, and to find true strength from within. Many of us are unconsciously waiting for inspiration to arrive. We believe that if we don't feel motivated or enthusiastic, starting a task or taking action is impossible. But the truth is, you will never have enough inspiration to do everything you want if you keep waiting for that emotion to come. Inspiration is not something you can wait for. It is something you must create. And the only way to do that is to start acting even when you don't feel ready. We often think that inspiration will come before we begin working, that once we feel motivated enough, everything will become easier. However, this is merely an illusion. Inspiration is not the deciding factor in getting work done. Successful people are not those who wait for inspiration to act, but those who act even without it. It is action that creates inspiration. That's why discipline is so important. Discipline helps you maintain momentum and persistence, while inspiration comes and goes. Think about the tasks you're currently postponing. You know you need to do them, but you feel unmotivated. You wait for inspiration, but it doesn't arrive. You wait until you feel ready or until motivation hits. But days pass and the work remains unfinished. Inspiration is not something you can control. But action, that's something you can choose. When you start taking action, even in small steps, you'll notice that inspiration begins to emerge. The feeling of completion, even for minor tasks, creates a positive loop where motivation and inspiration begin to grow. What's important is that you don't need to feel ready to act. You don't need to wait for the perfect feeling or a special event. We all have days when we don't feel motivated, but it's on those days that discipline and action matter the most. That's when you need to get up and begin, even with just a small step. Remember that action doesn't have to be grand. You don't need to solve everything at once. Start with one small task, and you'll see that motivation and inspiration will follow. Taking action is how you break the cycle of procrastination and create real momentum. None of us can rely on inspiration forever. Sometimes we'll feel tired, unmotivated, or simply unwilling to do anything. But what matters is not letting those feelings control us. Discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done, even without inspiration. It's about following through on what you've committed to, despite temporary emotion. When you act first, you not only generate results, but you also build a powerful habit. You commit to action, and action is the only thing that moves you forward. Think about the times you've successfully started a task, even when you lacked motivation. You might remember how it felt to begin working without feeling ready, but once you got into it, everything gradually became easier. That is the power of action. Everything you want to accomplish starts with a first step, not by waiting for inspiration to arrive, but by actively generating it through movement. Successful people don't wait for the perfect conditions to act. They act even when they don't feel like it. When you wait for inspiration, you're postponing your own progress. You're refusing to act and waiting for a feeling that you cannot control. If you want success, you have to let go of the habit of waiting and begin to act. Right now, inspiration is not something you can schedule or wait for. It comes when you begin working, when you create your own momentum with each step forward. This applies not only to work, but to every area of life, from taking care of your health, to personal development, to maintaining relationships, to build a healthy habit or complete major projects. You must begin with the first steps. Don't wait until you feel perfect. Don't wait until every condition is favorable. If you wait for perfection, you'll never start. Remember, you don't need to feel ready to begin. You just need to begin. And once you act, inspiration will find its way to you. Once you've started, you'll find that maintaining momentum becomes easier. The first steps may be the hardest, but as you keep going, as you don't stop, you'll start seeing results. You'll feel the change. The feeling of accomplishment will bring energy and inspiration to keep moving forward. That's why action is the most important factor in overcoming procrastination. Nothing can replace action. It is the only way to turn dreams into reality. So don't wait for inspiration. Act first, right now. Don't let emotions or negative thoughts stop you. Start today with something small, and you'll find that inspiration will come when you need it most. Action is the only thing that creates results. Don't wait. Don't delay. Start now, and you'll realize that inspiration is not what you need to succeed. Action is the only key. Discipline is not an automatic reaction to external factors. It is a conscious choice in every action you take. In a world filled with distractions and temptations, where every second and every minute can be influenced by social pressure, work demands, and even fleeting emotions, discipline requires you to be proactive, to choose how you live and act according to your own principles. Discipline is the ability to pause for a moment, to think, and to decide what is right, rather than simply reacting. In daily life, we often fall into the habit of reacting automatically to everything. A phone call may prompt an immediate answer. A notification can pull you out of your current task, or a social conversation can easily distract you from important responsibilities. We live this way, constantly distracted, constantly scattered by the outside world's calls. But discipline is not about reacting to every call. Discipline is when you choose to pause, assess the situation, and act with intention, with a purpose, instead of reacting unconsciously. To truly develop discipline, you must learn to recognize when you are being pulled into automatic reactions and when you can choose to change course. We all have deeply ingrained habits that cause us to act without thinking. However, discipline is about being able to identify those habits and change them when necessary. It's not about always doing everything right from the beginning. It's about learning to control your reactions and make deliberate choices even when it's difficult or time-consuming. Every day you face thousands of small decisions, from choosing whether to get up early or sleep in 5 more minutes, to deciding whether to focus on work or scroll through social media. Each of these choices affects your ultimate outcome. If you allow yourself to react based on habit and fleeting emotion, you'll easily fall into procrastination, distraction, and the loss of your goals. But if you have discipline, you'll be aware of each decision you make and choose to act with a clear purpose. Discipline is about creating proactivity in your life, not simply waiting for things to happen and then reacting. If you only react to events, you'll always be caught in the swirl of things beyond your control. You'll let outside forces decide your life for you. But when you take initiative in every action, you become the one steering your own life. You won't let anyone or anything pull you away from your goals. Having discipline is a conscious choice in how you live and work each day. It's about choosing to do what needs to be done, whether it's easy or not, whether you feel like it or not. Discipline is not a hasty response to a lack of motivation. It is the deliberate decision to work toward goals that matter more than your current emotions. It's knowing that temporary comfort won't bring long-term results, but persistence and discipline will lead to greater achievements. One of the hardest parts of building discipline is that we so often fall into automatic reaction mode. When you react automatically, you're easily drawn into things that don't matter, and your long-term goals are gradually forgotten. To change this, you must learn to pause, reflect on what you're doing, and make a conscious decision about whether your action is moving you closer to your goals. A simple example is choosing between working or watching a fun video on your phone. You can ask yourself, if I watch this video, am I getting closer to my goal? Will this help me grow and achieve what I want? If the answer is no, then discipline is choosing to ignore the temptation and continue working, regardless of the difficulty. Each of these decisions is a conscious choice about your actions and the results you want to achieve. The difference between a disciplined person and an undisciplined one lies in how they face daily choices. Undisciplined people often react automatically to emotion or circumstance. They're easily drawn into entertainment, procrastination, or unnecessary tasks. On the other hand, disciplined individuals are keenly aware of the choices they make and consistently prioritize long-term goals over temporary allure. They understand that only intentional action leads to significant success. Discipline also helps you create an environment where you can thrive. When you are proactive and disciplined, you don't allow yourself to be swept into the distractions of the outside world. You know when to say no, when to turn down unimportant things to stay focused on bigger goals. Discipline helps you manage your time and energy, which allows you to achieve extraordinary results without losing your direction. This conscious choice and discipline doesn't just apply to work or personal goals, it also applies to how you treat others. When you respect yourself, you teach others how to treat you. You don't allow yourself to be violated or taken advantage of. You create clear boundaries to protect your space and time. The decisions you make in life affect how people treat you, and discipline helps you maintain healthy, respectful relationships. Ultimately, discipline is about making conscious choices every day. You don't let life pass by without thought. You actively create results instead of letting things happen randomly. When you choose intentional action, you not only live better, you build a life of value, purpose, and deep meaning. Discipline is not something you display only at work or under someone's supervision. It is what you practice in private moments. When no one is watching, when no one is waiting for you to complete a task, true discipline begins with silent actions, with the decisions you make when no one is observing. And that is the foundation of becoming the person the world recognizes. What you do in private determines who you are in public and is the most accurate reflection of your identity. People often think that success is the result of what you show externally. But in reality, success is the sum of habits and actions you perform when no one is watching. When you truly maintain discipline in private, you not only elevate yourself, but you also create a model for the world. This kind of discipline doesn't need to be flashy or recognized immediately. It is a commitment to always do the right thing, even when no one is judging or applauding you. A disciplined person doesn't work only when being supervised. They continue their work and honor their commitments, even when no one is paying attention. This discipline shows itself in the most ordinary moments. When you wake up early to exercise, when you spend time developing yourself even though no one asks you to, or when you resist temptations during rest. These small actions may not be visible to the public right away, but they are the building blocks of the person you are becoming. It is a process of accumulation day by day until the moment comes when you stand before the public with confidence and strength. Private discipline helps you maintain a higher standard in both your personal and professional life. When you work hard and stay honest without supervision, you not only build trust with yourself, but also with those around you. You build confidence and self-respect through these actions, and when these actions are sustained over time, they become part of your identity, helping you develop a powerful and trustworthy public image. This is why private discipline is so important. It is the foundation of your public performance. If you can't keep promises to yourself in private moments, it will be difficult to maintain commitment and achieve great things in your career or relationships. Private discipline helps you form good habits, grow daily, and when the time comes to present yourself to the public, you will have the confidence and skills to do so. Imagine an artist who doesn't practice in their private studio, or an athlete who doesn't train without supervision. They may be able to perform brilliantly in public for a time, but without private discipline, they cannot sustain that performance long term. Real success comes from what you do in moments without observation, when you receive no recognition or praise. It is those actions, the ones where you continue to work hard and stay disciplined, that make the difference between those who are truly successful and those who achieve only temporary success. Private discipline is a commitment to long-term goals. It is the act of investing in yourself every day, whether someone sees it or not. These habits will not only help you grow personally, but also help you achieve stability and sustainability in your career. You cannot become truly successful through small wins alone. Without long-term perseverance and discipline, success comes from consistently doing the right things on the days when no one is watching, from continuing your efforts even when no one is cheering you on. In life, the decisions you make when no one is watching are the most important ones. It's when you choose to train your body, learn a new skill, or work hard even when there's no praise. These actions not only shape your identity, but also make a difference in how you view and present yourself in your work, in relationships, and in your community. When you maintain discipline in private moments, you'll realize you are building a strength and confidence that no one can take away. Discipline is not always easy. There will be times when you want to give up, take a break, or be tempted by laziness. But it is in those moments that discipline helps you persist. When you continue to take intentional actions in private, you will see major changes in your life. Discipline helps you not only achieve your goals, but also become someone you are proud of. And when you are proud of yourself, it shows outwardly and becomes a source of inspiration for those around you. Ultimately, private discipline doesn't just help you build a successful life, it also makes you a role model for the world. You don't need to display every action publicly, but when you do the right thing in private, your public expression will naturally become the result. Discipline is not something to boast about. It is a part of who you are, something you do every day to become the person you want to be. And when you live with discipline, you'll find that you not only transform yourself, but also change the way the world sees and respects you. Dopamine, a neurotransmitter in the brain, can be your best friend or your worst enemy on the path of discipline and personal development. It is the chemical responsible for creating feelings of satisfaction and reward, but it is also the very force that can lead you into unhealthy habits and procrastination. In a world overflowing with instant stimulation from social media, videos, video games, to tempting foods, we are constantly bombarded by dopamine. And if we don't know how to regulate it, we can easily lose control of our own lives. True discipline is the ability to control dopamine, to restructure your desires and sense of satisfaction, and to bring yourself back to greater and more sustainable goals. We've grown accustomed to seeking instant gratification, a like on social media, a few minutes of casual gaming, a delicious meal. All trigger short bursts of dopamine that make us feel happy, but these bursts of reward also pull us away from our long-term goals. When dopamine is triggered, the brain's sensation of pleasure and excitement makes us crave more of that stimulation, trapping us in habits with no lasting value. You've likely seen this in moments when you postponed important work in favor of the temporary pleasure of scrolling your phone or watching a long movie. Every time you choose immediate gratification, you reinforce a purposeless habit and distance yourself from what truly matters. Controlling dopamine is one of the most crucial elements in building personal discipline. This doesn't mean you have to give up all small pleasures, but it does mean learning to distinguish between habits that bring long-term value and those that offer only temporary satisfaction. You need to learn how to change your response to dopamine. Instead of chasing quick hits of stimulation, you must learn to find joy in the process of working and in the achievement of meaningful outcomes. Once you become aware of how dopamine influences your behavior, you'll understand that instant satisfaction never leads to lasting fulfillment. What comes easily, what stimulates quickly, will always pull you away from your larger ambitions, the long-term plans you truly want to realize. That's why regulating dopamine becomes a vital part of developing discipline. To maintain discipline, you must learn to find enjoyment in doing the work, not in the immediate results. Dopamine is not inherently bad, but if you don't control it, it will control you. The short-term rewards dopamine offers can become a trap, pulling you into cycles of ease and immediacy rather than keeping you focused on long-term goals. Regulating dopamine means training your brain to seek satisfaction not just from fleeting emotions, but from completing tasks, from getting closer to your vision. You must learn to reward yourself from major accomplishments, from outcomes that carry real meaning, rather than chasing instant hits from unhealthy habits. One way to control dopamine is to build an environment where short-term stimuli have no place. You can start by reducing exposure to distractions, limit your time on social media, turn off notifications while working, or create quiet spaces where you can focus deeply. This minimizes the constant temptations and allows you to maintain your concentration and aim for long-term objectives. Additionally, developing healthy reward habits can help restructure your desire. Instead of seeking gratification from junk food or mindless entertainment, you can learn to reward yourself through meaningful outcomes, such as a satisfying meal after completing an important task or a relaxing evening after a productive week. Building these healthy reward systems helps sustain your motivation and maintain discipline without feeling deprived or constrained. Controlling dopamine also means becoming more patient. In a world of hyperstimulation, we've gotten used to wanting everything instantly, but the truth is, meaningful success in life doesn't come from instant results. It comes from persistence and consistent effort over time. When you learn to manage your cravings and find joy in the journey, you'll realize that each day becomes a step closer to your goals. Managing dopamine also develops stronger self-control. When you can resist temporary temptations, you'll feel that you are truly in control of your life rather than letting it unfold at random. You'll realize that you don't need external triggers to feel motivated. You just need to focus on your goals and remember why you started. Controlling dopamine doesn't mean giving up everything that brings temporary joy. It means choosing the right moment to enjoy those pleasures. You'll find that when you learn to regulate dopamine, you'll create a more intentional life, one where you're no longer swept away by outside distractions, but remain steadily focused on long-term aims. Discipline in dopamine control helps you develop patience, self-mastery, and the ability to fully enjoy the lasting results of your hard work. When you learn to control dopamine, you don't just restructure your desires, you build a life that you fully command. You'll discover that true satisfaction doesn't come from short-term stimulation, but from the process of completing meaningful work and moving steadily toward the big goals you've set for yourself. That is the true power of discipline and dopamine control. When people think of the word structure, many often imagine rigidity, strict rules, and a sense of being trapped in a closed system. They picture a schedule filled with rules, limits, and obligations as if we are forced to live according to an unchanging mold. But in reality, true structure in life is not confinement. On the contrary, it is an act of compassion toward yourself. Structure is about creating a safe space, a supportive environment that helps you maximize your potential. It is not about imposition or restraint. When you build structure into your life, you are establishing a solid foundation for personal freedom and growth, not creating barriers to limit your creativity. Structure in life is not something you have to fight against or feel compelled to pursue. It is a deliberate choice that helps you organize your life so you can focus on what truly matters. A day without structure can easily become a string of unconscious reactions to whatever happens around you. You'll find yourself pulled into temptations, distracted by trivial matters, and ultimately feeling like you're living a life dictated by factors beyond your control. But when you establish structure, you gain the ability to manage your time and energy, allowing you to take ownership of your life instead of letting it own you. Structure is a tool that provides safety for your mind, your emotions, and your actions. It's like a map that guides you in the right direction, a wall that protects you from distraction. When you have clear structure, you don't have to worry about what comes next. You won't get lost in the noise of the day or be derailed by unimportant things. You'll be able to work more effectively, achieve your goals faster, and spend more time on what truly matters in life. Structure helps you maintain consistency and focus. In a world where everything is constantly changing and chaotic, having a clear framework creates a stable environment for you. When you know that each day has a clear goal and a defined plan, you won't feel overwhelmed or lost. You'll be able to maintain discipline and keep going until you reach your goals. This doesn't mean you won't have time to rest or relax. True structure allows you the space to rest and recover because you've created a reasonable schedule that balances work and rest. Structure isn't a rigid system. It's a framework that helps you optimize life. You can adapt this structure to suit your needs to help you achieve your goals without feeling stifled or restricted. You don't have to follow a structure in a forced way, but in a way that allows you to grow freely within a defined framework. Structure enables you to clarify your goals, focus on what's important, and filter out the unnecessary. For example, when you set a consistent morning routine, you're not just creating a habit, you're helping yourself begin the day with a calm and clear mind. When you use the morning hours to handle your most important tasks, you set a strong tone for the rest of the day. This structure doesn't just improve your efficiency, it helps you feel more proactive and in control. You won't be swept away by trivialities or distracted by outside temptations. What's important is that structure creates the environment where your strength can flourish. It isn't a set of rigid rules. It's a system that helps you work more effectively, sustain persistence, and maintain consistency in action. Structure keeps you from wasting time and energy because it allows you to stay focused on long-term goals and build a meaningful life. When you have structure, you can live consciously, not reacting to everything around you, but living with intention and purpose. Structure also doesn't mean you have to abandon creativity or freedom. In fact, structure unleashes your creativity because it provides a solid foundation from which to work more effectively. When you have a defined time and space, you'll feel safer and freer to dive into the creative work you love. You'll be able to maintain the focus and energy required to complete large projects without being pulled away by distractions. Structure is truly an act of compassion toward yourself because it helps you maintain balance between work and rest, between personal growth and self-care. Structure is a form of respect for your goals and values. It doesn't force you to do everything perfectly. It helps you do the important things with intention and mindfulness. Only when you have structure can you create true freedom, the kind of freedom where you're not overwhelmed by distraction or insecurity. Ultimately, structure is not confinement, it is liberation. It is a tool that helps you take control of your life, helping you live with purpose and clear direction. You don't need a perfect plan, but a thoughtful structure will provide the foundation for a meaningful and sustainably fulfilling life. When you want to achieve a big goal or make a significant change in your life, there's one simple but powerful principle that most of us overlook. Act like the person you're becoming. Instead of waiting until you've reached the goal, instead of thinking that you'll start acting when you feel ready, you need to begin acting now, in this very moment, as if you already are the person you want to become. The way you behave, think, and carry out your work today will determine who you are in the future. This is the core of building discipline and achieving success, taking the right actions each day to become the best version of yourself. It's easy to postpone and think that one day you'll have enough energy, motivation, or time to start making a change. We often tell ourselves, when I have enough money, I'll start saving. When I have time, I'll start learning. Or when I feel confident enough, I'll start my own business. But the truth is, you will never feel completely ready. If you keep waiting for perfection before you act, you'll never begin. Instead of waiting for the ideal conditions, you need to start acting today in the way the person you want to become would act. Don't wait for opportunities to come. Create them through your own actions. One of the biggest mistakes we make when facing our goals is thinking we have to wait for inspiration to begin. But true discipline isn't about feeling excited or energized to do the work. It's about a commitment to action, even when you don't feel like doing it. When you act like the person you're becoming, you'll find that discipline is not something forced or difficult. It becomes a natural habit, a part of your daily life. To act like the person you're becoming means you don't wait for the goal to arrive. You proactively do the things that bring you closer to that goal. For example, if you want to be successful in your career, you can't just sit and wait for opportunities. You need to act like someone who is already successful. Plan, work hard, keep learning, and persist through challenges. You must live and act as though you already have the qualities and habits of the person you want to become. If you want to be healthy, you can't just dream about it. You have to act like a healthy person by maintaining a nutritious diet, exercising regularly, and taking care of your body every day. Acting like the person you're becoming also means eliminating negative thoughts and the limits you impose on yourself. Excuses like, I'm not good enough, I don't have enough time, or I'm not ready are lies you tell yourself. If you want to succeed, you must stop waiting for everything to be perfect and start taking action immediately. Part of discipline is doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel or how confident you are. When you act like the person you're becoming, you'll begin to notice changes within yourself. Good habits will gradually form, and you'll feel progress each day. What's important is that you don't have to be perfect from the start. You don't need to become an expert immediately. You just need to begin and stay consistent. Every day you do a little. Every small step you take brings you closer to your goal. Acting like the person you're becoming helps you build healthy habits, work more effectively, and move steadily towards your long-term aspirations. This also applies to building confidence and self-respect. If you want to feel confident, you need to act like a confident person now. That doesn't mean pretending to be someone you're not. It means beginning to express the behaviors of a confident person, such as standing tall, speaking clearly, and being self-assured. When you start acting that way, you'll gradually begin to feel more confident, and that confidence will continue to grow. Acting like the person you're becoming also means not letting laziness or procrastination control you. Instead of waiting to feel motivated, you act immediately, even if your emotions don't fully support you. This helps you overcome the temptations of delay and allows you to make daily progress. When you start taking action, you'll realize that inspiration and motivation follow. That is the power of action. Inspiration is not something you wait for to begin. It is something you generate through your actions. How you act in each moment determines who you will be in the future. If you want to change your life, you need to act like the person you're becoming, not the person you used to be. Every time you do the right thing, whether big or small, you are building a new self. Each day you'll feel the transformation from the habits you cultivate to the confidence you gain. Ultimately, acting like the person you're becoming is a commitment to yourself. You don't have to wait for some future day to become who you want to be. You must start today. By acting like the person you want to become, you'll move closer to your goals and dreams every single day. This is the key to building discipline, forming good habits, and achieving great things in life. In life, setting goals is important, but an equally vital factor is your ability to measure your progress on the path to achieving those goals. Measuring isn't just about checking numbers, statistics, or final results. Measuring progress means constantly evaluating and recognizing how far you've come, what you've accomplished, and what still needs to be done to keep moving forward. There is no real growth without a way to track your steps, the changes that have occurred, and the next actions needed. Measuring progress is not about showing off or imposing judgment. It is a tool that helps you become more aware of your journey, adjust where necessary, and reinforce what you've done right. One common mistake many people make when pursuing their goals is not having a system in place to measure their progress. They may feel tired or discouraged because they don't see immediate results from their efforts, but they fail to realize that real growth and progress don't usually come from giant leaps. They come from small, gradual, and consistent changes. When you don't measure your progress, it's easy to fall into a sense of disorientation, to feel like you're not achieving anything, or to question whether you're even on the right path. But when you have a clear system for tracking your progress, you'll start to notice your improvements, even the small ones, and feel the motivation to keep going. Measuring progress helps you recognize the positive changes that have taken place in your life. On ordinary days, you might not feel like much has changed, but when you look back systematically, you'll see that you've come a long way. Seeing these steps forward will encourage you to keep pushing because you understand that your efforts are paying off. Measurement isn't just about tracking outcomes, it's also about assessing the habits, strategies, and methods you're using to reach your goals. When you realize that a certain approach is working, you can keep developing it. And when you notice something isn't effective, you can make timely adjustments. Failing to measure your progress can also trap you in impatience. You might get frustrated when things don't go as expected, but without a system of assessment, you won't see even the smallest progress you've made. Measurement allows you to see change in a bigger picture. Small changes in behavior or habits can accumulate over time and create significant results. But if you're not tracking them, you won't notice the difference. That's why measuring your progress helps you maintain faith and motivation, because you can clearly see your steps, even when they feel slow. Measuring progress isn't just a tool for checking results. It's an opportunity for self-assessment and reflection. True growth and advancement come from the ability to self-reflect and self-correct. When you measure your progress, you not only understand what you've accomplished, but you also become aware of what needs improvement. Measurement helps you identify habits that need to change, weaknesses that need addressing, and effective strategies you should continue to use. This not only helps you improve, but also allows you to grow in self-awareness and personal development. An effective method for measuring your progress is to set specific, measurable goals with clear deadlines. Instead of just saying, I want to be successful, set goals like, I will spend 30 minutes each day learning a new skill, or I will complete a project within the next 3 months. These specific goals help you not only track your pace, but also clearly see daily progress. When you accomplish these small goals, you'll feel excited and motivated to continue aiming for bigger goals. Additionally, regularly evaluating and acknowledging small achievements is also a great way to measure progress. Don't wait until you've reached a major goal to celebrate. Praise yourself for every small step forward, because those are the building blocks of long-term success. This not only helps you maintain confidence, but also makes you feel proud of what you've achieved. Every time you look back and realize that you've followed through on what you planned, you'll see that you are truly growing and advancing. Measuring progress also helps you maintain discipline. Discipline is not a one-time act. It is a habit sustained consistently. When you know you're tracking and assessing your progress, you'll have a reason to keep acting each day because you know that your efforts will be rewarded. Measuring progress helps you maintain not just motivation, but also creates positive feedback, which strengthens your resolve to achieve your goals. Ultimately, measuring progress is a tool that helps you recognize how far you've come and how many steps remain to complete your goal. In reality, this process will make you feel proud and full of motivation. Measuring progress not only helps you achieve your desired results, but also helps you grow stronger throughout your journey, because you'll know exactly what you need to do next to become the person you want to be.